Hello everyone and welcome once again to another program of Prime Time. I'm your host, Beverly. I have known my guest today for many years and in many capacities. But today he's here as Minister of Government and here to share with us all the positives and the negatives, the challenges of his new job. So stick around and we'll be right back, for this is Prime Time.
This is Rupert Brown, better known in the community as Major Brown. Because of my service in the police, I've been with Nagico for the past 30-something years. I think it's around 35. And I've always been satisfied with the service I got with them. They have helped many people in this island. As long as I have to keep on insuring them with any company, I will choose Nagico.
Every time I go to Nagico, I get the best service that I needed.
I think it took a little longer to be paid out, but I could understand. They had to bring in the people out from outside. The damage was so great that they needed people from outside to make the assessments, and that took a little longer. But in the end, I was satisfied that I had people in Nagico who you consider friends, and that's why I've remained with Nagico all these years, because of the friendliness of the people in there.
Choose strength, choose reliability, choose Nagico Insurances.
As I mentioned in my opening, we have a new member of government with us in the studio today, and he is the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunications, and it's no other than Minister Stuart Johnson. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Minister Stuart.
Good evening, Beverly, and of course, good evening, St. Martin. It is a pleasure being on the program this evening with you, and of course, I look forward to a healthy discussion, the positives and negatives within the Ministry of TIAT, and of course, St. Martin in general, and I look forward to that discussion.
So tell me, have you settled in? Because is it about 2 months?
It's about 8 to 9 weeks so far, about 2 months, correct? A little over 2 months. And, you know, for me, Beverly, it's about not really only settling in, but this is about youngsters, young professionals having the opportunity to serve. You know, if we look at the U.S., where Hillary Clinton was the first female nominee for President of the United States, on St. Martin now, the glass ceiling has also been broken, that she made even reference to, where young professionals can serve not only in Parliament, but also now in the Council of Ministers. I know for me, it's not about padding my resume. It's not about saying, well, you're the youngest, or you're the this, you're the that, or you've had these caps before. It's about now my niece and my nephew, students that I have taught, others now can serve in this role. And if we realize what that means for a country, if that realize what that means for going forward as a nation, then we understand what position and what thought processes I have as an educator coming into now this ministry. It's important that we also understand that certain things that distract others won't distract me. And what do I mean by that is, of course, my focus remains the airport and the harbor, the economy, transportation, and just a matter of a few 8 to 9 weeks, a lot of things has been initiated. We can't fix 40 years in 8 weeks, but we can surely make a conceited effort into ensuring that those issues have been addressed. Taxi dispatchers reached out to me. They have been ignored for years. And finally, they now feel as if someone has a listening ear. I said, to me, you're not the stepchildren in the Ministry of TIAT. At the airport, my first days in office was not just to see the terminal building, but was to see what was happening to passengers in the temporary facility. What was happening in terms of workers having to go work into those conditions in the temporary facility. Shortly after that, I dispatched a letter to the managing director and the management of the airport and said, guys, you promised me this is the deadline for the airport. I want progress reports, updates constantly, because that deadline of getting back into the airport for Terminal 1 is of paramount importance for the country. So that promise you made, you're going to have to keep to the country. Hotels depend on it. Family lives depend on it. The economy depends on it. So, you know, it's not the usual, we're going to tour around the place. For me, it has been work, 12, 14-hour days at times.
Are you surprised at the magnitude of work that you have to put in, of the hours, of trying to deal with all the different areas, all the different ministries, and trying to give each of one its equal attention.
But you know, at times you have to prioritize. We have the governing program one. Against the governing program, of course, are the list of priorities. What we highlighted within the Ministry of TIAT as focus areas for us. Again, it remains of paramount importance. The airport and the harbour gets focused on. For instance, at the harbour, there was work done in the cargo section where those works are being carried out. That at least the section that was damaged during the passage of Hurricane Irma, that remediation work happens. At the airport, the same thing. They're busy making sure now all the mole remediation works have been executed and finalized, and now they're busy into the other phases of securing the terminal building. Again, the roof had to be fixed. So a lot of extensive work had to happen. Would I have liked to have seen, if it was up to me and I was a magician or had all the powers in the world, that the airport had workers on it 24 hours a day? Yes, I would love to see that. I would love to see construction happening 24 hours a day, because it is that important. But you know, there is a reality of government, there is a reality of financing, there is a reality of resources and people. So at times we just have to take that checkbox and say, well, you know, it's not going to go so quick. And that young, youthful energy within the ministry now that I bring into it with my team is part of that we continue to motivate the ministry together, because everyone in the ministry is a part of that process. And how can I say that? Because one of my first acts also was to empower the management team of TIAT. It's the first time where I said to them, even as press announcements, I don't think if a department has an announcement, I need to be the face of that. I think the department head is competent enough. I have my confidence and trust in each of the department heads, and they can execute their task within the ministry. What does that mean for me as minister? Let us have our regular briefings. Let us be in the loop. You know, I even then said to the SG, Mr. Miguel De Weaver, that let's have a photo up with DCOM. Let's have everybody take the official profile photo. Press releases go out. It doesn't have to be the minister. I have to focus on the bigger picture, that helicopter view, getting the country moving again. And I know sometimes we see all sorts of daring headlines on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And, you know, I keep Facebook busy with my professional photos and quotes that I love to share. But at the end of the day, I'm running a country with the other ministers, and the people of St. Martin deserve that now more than ever.
Yeah. How did you feel when they approached you for a position like this? I mean, you were the principal of one of the primary schools, and then they approached you and asked you to be minister of such a very important portfolio. Did it take a lot of thought and convincing?
Well, it took some thought, because, you know, I'm going to leave behind a school and students that I hold dearly to my heart. I haven't turned my back to them. I reach out to them as well, and the teachers that are still connected to the school. We speak regularly. Even my former administrative staff, we speak regularly. Went out not too long ago, you know, and so that connection is always there. When something is genuine and something is real, that can never be broken. So for me, I'm coming into the ministry. It was definitely a learning curve. One, I came from education, but I think it is a blessing. I saw where there was gaps and budget constraints within education, and sometimes this free spirit was sometimes within the ministry that I'm there. So reason for the initial travel ban, reason for restricting certain things, because I know in other sectors of our country there are needs, and I still want to see homes being fixed. I still want to see schools being repaired. You know, that is something passionate to me, dear to me, and I remain committed to see that through with the other ministers in the Council of Ministers.
Yeah, and so transport, you have telecommunications, and then you have tourism, you have economic affairs. So we know that the economy is struggling because we don't have the hotels. We have a lot of stores that have never reopened and so on. How bright does the future look?
Well, of course, you know, when you look at statistical information from the Chamber of Commerce, there's a number of businesses that have increased and signed up for new businesses more than previous years. This year has been on the increase compared to previous years, so that's a good indicator. By Q1 of next year, so the first quarter of 2019, we're going to see 70% of the rooms on St. Martin open again. That's a very important step. That shows, one, confidence in our country, two, the resilience of who we are as a people, and further strengthening of our job creation within the country. More people are working, more people are spending, more job opportunities. So that's very key. And one of the major things now within the Ministry of TIAT, of course, is the regular stakeholders meeting that we keep. And we keep that monthly because it's important to reach out to every sector, not only on the Dutch side, but on the French side as well.
I saw that, yes.
We signed the MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. You know, election time, those things look nice. Beautiful, nice signing. But now as minister, coming in as a young minister, and also my counterpart, Ms. Valerie Demasure, the vice president of the French side, also young as well, I said to her, we said in conversation, now we have to make this more tangible, more substance. I've always said that. So now what is happening now is schedules are aligning. My schedule and her schedule is aligning for travel. That of the 2 tourist offices, priority areas of the 2 tourist offices aligning. Websites now are aligning. So instead of marketing the destination as 2 sides, we're marketing it as 1 side. And budget-wise, you know, we've committed each, because the CTO, the Caribbean Tourism Organization, gave each side about $15,000. We have pledged on each side that would be the initial funds for the continuation of this joint MOU. So we're looking at about a 30,000 startup. We do have to discuss budget and other things, but at least there is a start. There is more substance to what was there. So that's very important. What I also want to see with the French side is that we also cooperate further. So I want to see, for instance, that monthly stakeholders meeting now, which I told them the last time, to see a more larger contingent from the French side as well.
Okay, we need to take a break. It's so much going on. Yeah, but we need to take a break. When we come back, we will continue, and we want some specifics as to, I know that you're very passionate about the airport and getting it going. We see the confidence with the big airlines. They're coming in slowly for the new season. So let's talk a little bit about that. Stick around and we'll be back in a moment. This is Prime Time.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact WIB today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Windward Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
A cruise is a great adventure. Not only for passengers, also for us. The Port of St. Martin. Our port always reflected the needs and aspirations of the time. From the first to the 1.75 millionth passenger in 2013. Our cruise story started in 1963 with our first cruise passenger. 50 great years later, 20 million passengers later, thousands of cruise berths later, we've become the leading port in the Caribbean. 50 fantastic years. Like a dream. The dream of Port St. Martin lives on and reinvents itself every day. The best is yet to come.
At Travel Planners, we love what we do. Every day we help our clients plan their vacations, from honeymoons to family reunions, trade shows to conventions, school trips to sports tournaments. Our agents at Travel Planners can help you make better, wiser decisions on travel destinations and cruises and find you the lowest fares. Make some memories with help from travel planners in Phillipsburg and on the Airport Road, Simpson Bay. Visit our website at Planners SXM and like us on Facebook at St. Martin Travel Planners. We take care of all your travel needs.
Welcome back and thank you very much for joining us. This is Prime Time and we are speaking today to the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Telecommunication and Transport. And before we took a break, we said we will talk about specifics of the airport. We know that season is just around the corner. We know quite a number of our hotels are just not ready to the capacity of which they're capable. What's happening? Give us an update, and especially we've seen JetBlue and American Airlines shown a lot of confidence in St. Martin by adding extra flights.
You know, I recently congratulated American Airlines on showing that confidence back to the destination, and that is in line, of course, with the phase 1 of the airport, being able to accommodate those mass travel periods that we have. So, for instance, the airport now would be able to accommodate about 1,200 passengers during those peak times. And what is going to happen at the airport, for instance, the B gates, which is the lowest section of the terminal, where you used to leave with, for instance, Liat and other smaller carriers, that is where the departure gates will be. There'll be vending areas, of course, throughout the other section of the airport. The check-in kiosk will also be reinitiated, and of course the security checks to go down to the gates also will happen. I also recently had a telephone conference call with JetBlue and congratulated them as well on the resilience of them showing to the destination, their confidence even right after Hurricane Irma that they had to St. Martin, and again now with their change in routes, because they pulled out from different routes from St. Croix and many others because they were not profitable. They have now shown confidence into St. Martin, you know, and you see the political twist on those things, but you know, fact is, and I don't want to be reactive because I did have a conference call with JetBlue. I did see the fact sheet in terms of why they pulled out from one destination and showed confidence into St. Martin. I am there to govern. When it's campaign time, I can do that well. But, you know, those kind of press releases, you know, you just smile and say, well, if it serves the country, well, then we do it together. But, you know, I did have that conference call with them, and we did see to it that they knew from government that we are committed to them and they're committed to us. And in that conference call, of course, was Ms. Milling Chun and other representatives of the Tourist Bureau, and they reached out to us wholeheartedly when they initiated the inaugural flight. Of course, we have plans for that. So we're right on target with governing the country, and we leave politics aside.
So tell us when we're going to stop using that tent and get back in the airport. And you think by the end of the year?
Well, I would say by the end of November. The indications are the end of November. Of course, it is important that the right works take place. The securing of the roof of the terminal being very, very important. Indications from the management of the airport to me in briefings are that the airport now could withstand about 180 mile per hour winds. The roof itself, you know, that is important for those works to be carried out. And then, of course, inside with the mold remediation that had to happen, had to be certified, had to make sure that all the mold was taken out. And, you know, if we flash back to after Irma, a lot could be asked of me as minister within 8 weeks. But should the work right after Irma should have happened? Yes. You know, even as a citizen back then, you know, I was saying, why are we not moving? What's happening? Why are we not cleaning out the airport? Why is it taking so long? But agendas aside and governing being the focus, works are being done right away.
And so tell us about this, in the harbor, the cruise ships. They're supposed to be the world's largest cruise ship, supposed to be coming in sometime in November. I think I read that.
Correct. In November, one of the another inaugural berth is happening. So we also had on October the 11th, the 1 millionth cruise ship passenger. Those two guests, you know, received a lot of prizes from Winea, from the harbor, from the ministry. You know, those are all part of rewarding persons who have shown confidence. And they have come to St. Martin so many times. And in conversating with them, they said that we always love to come to St. Martin because the warmness of the people, the hospitality, the island flair, but they had never had lunch at Yvette's. So they had lunch at Yvette's based on my recommendation. Someone else recommended somewhere else. But I said, no, you want to feel the local flair and feel what it is to have some nice local food, and no better place, I think, you know, than Yvette's, you know, for their day trip while here. And they went and they loved it. They said, please let the minister know that it was the best choice ever. So, you know, that was good that they enjoyed it, you know. as part of the 1 millionth cruise ship passenger, we also celebrated the inaugural call of the Carnival Horizon. It was the first time the Carnival Horizon came to St. Martin. And like I said in my address to the captain and the whole crew, they docked at the best port in the world, the best place in the world. And it was well received. I mean, everybody, you could see the joy in everybody's face and the applause that, you know, indeed it was so. They do feel so. Statistics show that the crew spend more money of the cruise ships on St. Martin than any other destination. And of course, they look forward to joining us again on their next calls.
When you walk down Front Street, you're not getting that bustle. You know, you speak to the merchants and they're saying, you know, the people are coming off the ships and they're not buying. You know, Front Street looks really, really quiet, even if there's ships on port. Is there anything, any work ahead to help with that? I know these mega ships come with mega shops and shopping on board, and so they're not so encouraged to shop when they come on the island.
Well, you know, for me, again, it goes back to what we sell as a destination. I think, you know, what would be nice for shops to do is, of course, have a nice Caribbean drink outside. You know, it's the flair of the steel pan playing, you know, nice warmth. In terms of inviting people to come in. That is what we need to see in town, and I've had those discussions already with some of the merchants in town. I also met with the Phillipsburg Promotional Board, how we can continue to not only adopt the alley, but continue to strengthen their efforts as well, and see to it that town is fully revitalized and brought back to life. And part of those plans, which I visited the port of Lisbon in Portugal when I went to the Sea Trade Conference, wasn't only for me for travel, but it was more to see and show that we are ready for home porting. So part of that home porting is my conversation now in extending the cruise ship's time in port. So that will require legislative change. What would that mean, of course, is that there's the opportunity for now passengers to maybe have dinner in St. Martin, be able to go out and have the nightlife in St. Martin. Would they have done so if they were at sea? No. So if we get 10, if we get 5, if we get 500, you know, whatever the amount is, it would have been more staying than if they had gone. And of course that comes in line with a lot of things, safety and security for them, so justice has to be involved, the opening of shops, the advertising of our product then at night. And one of those incentives I would like to see is, of course, is a laser show on the boardwalk. There's one similarly in Las Vegas where patrons will be able to come and see, residents and locals alike, a laser show display that would enhance the overall experience of town.
Great. Okay, when we come back, you've always been in campaigning the spokesperson, but you've never postulated yourself on a list, and so here you are as a minister. So we'll chat a little bit about that and how this has changed your personal life, you know, from a teacher to a minister, and what your days are like. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. This is Prime Time. You can see this program and all other programs on Facebook and on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be back in a moment.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
The Daily Herald is my first source for up-to-date information and news. Putting together this program of Prime Time requires research and knowledge of current events. For local news, regional and international news, do read the Daily Herald. I mentioned, I did make an error, let me fix it. I said that you didn't postulate yourself on the list, but recently,
hiding some of the gray hair, so it will show.
Right? Yeah,
I did run before.
In those days, you were on the
much
DP,
younger, on the Democratic Party
list.
But you know, everybody's one now. The United Democrats is one big party now, so being the president of the board and the spokesperson throughout the campaign, you know, the confidence was entrusted in me to lead this ministry.
Yeah. Do you look at yourself as a politician?
Definitely. Now I'm a full-fledged politician, you know, serving the people of St. Martin. And of course, my open door policy for the ministry remains. There's no set day. There's no only Thursdays, only Fridays. I mean, appointments are booked throughout the day, you know, 12-hour days. People stop me on the road. They send me inbox messages. I think I've become the minister of everything. Broken pipes, issues, I mean, everything outside. And what persons tell me when I say, well, I'll bring it to the attention of, you know, my colleagues, they say, well, we know you're going to fix it. Anybody, but I can't fix every problem, you know. I commit to work for the country on all the areas, but, you know, we have to take it one day at a time. And St. Martin is indeed rebuilding, and that is the stage we're at now. What
is the most challenging thing about being a minister? Because you've got quite a heavy set of portfolios. You're handling tourism, which are one number. You're handling the economy. You're handling transport. You're handling telecommunications.
You know, the first thing I would say is it's good to be young, because I think the number of hours in the day I would like to be even more, because like I said, I'm working 12, 14-hour days. Sometimes you're in the car, you're talking, you're trying to get in the shower and get ready for the next event, you're talking, you're sending emails before you go to sleep. So it's constant work, and if you commit yourself for working for the people of St. Martin, it is not work, it's actually a passion, and that's always something I've done from a young age, work and volunteered. So for me, it's basically nothing new.
So, we hope not, but what would you do? Would you go back to education if this post ends?
Definitely. You know, one of the main discussions that I had was my role as principal of the Dr. Martin Luther King School. I would like to go back as a principal of the school, and of course, if there's not that opportunity at that particular school, but then a lead role as a principal in another school for sure.
Yeah. And so you were one of the youngest principals too?
Correct. I was the youngest principal. Now I'm the youngest minister. So, you know, like I said earlier in the program, it's about other young professionals, young people, seeing that they too can be whoever they want to be in this country. Hard work, dedication, and focus can get you there.
Anything on the table for telecommunications? Any new innovations coming in?
Well, you know, for me, I'm the regulator. So, for instance, I'm over BTP, which is Bureau of Telecommunication. And POST, the Prime Minister, has the portfolio then as shareholder of Telem, and the Minister of Justice has the portfolio of UTS. So, amongst us in the council, you know, there's always that discussion of, you know, how are the different telecommunications sectors going to improve on service. And for me, through the concession is where now, as the regulator, I would have those discussions where person should be guaranteed stable internet, person should have the speed that they pay for. And, you know, I have that fight personally.
I know.
Sometimes I have to call the hotline, I won't say which company, and they know me, they say, but Lord Minister, even you facing this challenge. And, you know, so the reality is there for all of us, but we can only commit to do so if the company prioritizes that through the concessions, that they live up to those concessions and that they serve what the people pay for.
And I just called and they said right away, and we really appreciate that. Best of luck, and we only wish you great and positive things.
Thank you.
This has been Prime Time. Thank you very much for watching us. I'll see you next week, and may God bless.